So if you're on my channel, just know you're getting some real good information. I have a buddy that bought a truck, and I'm talking about this is probably 2 months now since he's owned his truck. I'm talking about going from working for a company, never owning a truck before in his life. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Winston P. Strategist, coming back with the strategies, and on this video we're going to talk about, is there any money left in the trucking industry for you? Now, if you've been watching my content for a really long time, thank you for coming back. But if you're new here, welcome. And this is not my normal setting. I'm actually in Fort Lauderdale right now, headed to Miami, but I got to get this video out, guys. I know it's a lot of people out there that need the information. Now, if you're that person that's thinking about getting a CDL, or you may know people with the CDL and they're telling you that there's no money in this industry, this video is for you. And make sure you stay to the very end, because you don't want to miss out on anything that I'm about to say. Now, here's a little bit about my background. I started off washing trucks, guys. I was probably making about $14 to about $15 an hour just starting out washing trucks, you know, for Penske. Then I moved on to becoming a diesel mechanic, where I was actually, well, I should say diesel tech, because it's technically different, but I'm gonna say diesel tech because I was a tech 3. And I started off, you know, changing oil and just going into different things as far as, you know, repairing trucks go. But long story short, you know, that wasn't for me. I decided I wanted to get a CDL. So from about 2017 to now, I've been driving. So, you know, that's well over 5 years. So I am qualified to give you my, you know, opinion on this industry. And there's a lot of people that are going to give you their opinion. There's a ton of people that's going to come before me, that have came before me, that's going to come after me. And everybody has, you know, their own story to tell. But I'm going to give you mine. And the reason why this is very important to you is because I was a driver, an owner operator. I have my own authority. I just started a brokerage. So guys, I got a lot of gems that I want to share with you. So let's go ahead and hop right into it, guys. Is this trucking industry making anybody any money at all? Now, the short answer is yes, but there's a lot of technicalities and there's just plenty of details that you need, okay? Number one thing, right? If you don't have a CDL and you're getting started, you do not have to worry. You're going to make some type of money. Now, here is the range for what you're going to make. And I'm talking about from, you know, that 3-week time span to the 30-day time span, from you actually getting your license to training with somebody. Like, what does that look like? All right. Starting out, you're probably going to be making about, you know, 90 bucks a day, maybe 120 bucks a day. So roughly, you know, 500 bucks a week, just getting your feet wet, just kind of, you know, going through the training and different things like that. You may even get some companies to give you a guarantee of $1,000, you know, but it's just here and there, you know, far and wide. It just all depends. But let's just start it off like, you know, be in the mindset that you're really not going to make anything, right? Training pay could be as low as 70 bucks, $80 a day, you know, who knows? Or some people, you know, may just pay you cent per mile and you probably scraping up crumbs, $400 a week. So just be in that range, 1,000 or less, just training, getting started, you know, learning the truck and just pretty much understanding the basic principles of moving a truck from the darn parking lot or from the DMV to the road, right? That's what you're going to make. That's what you can expect to make. Now, that's going to last for about 2 months. Once you get to your 3rd month in this industry, you can actually make something. The reason why I say that you can make something at your 3-month mark is because you will notice once you start looking around for different jobs, plenty of companies out there will tell you we need a minimum of 3 months in order to hire you. So at the 3-month mark, you know, you still are like brand new, but you can expect an increase at that point. Typically within the first 3 months, guys will be hitting like consistently about 900 bucks per week to about, you know, maybe 1,100 bucks per week. All right. And that's like on the high side. Now, don't take these numbers to heart because I'm pretty sure there's somebody in my comment section that can just come and destroy that and say, well, I was making this, or well, I was making that. Don't pay that any mind, guys, okay? This data that I'm giving you is collected across, probably 4 years of data, just spread out with different people, different jobs. So you can be rest assured. You ask about 5 people what you can make in your first 3 months, and at least 3 of them, if not maybe 4, would actually agree with what I'm telling you. So you don't have to worry. This information is pretty solid. And if I'm off, correct me. Drop down and explain, why I'm wrong. Maybe there's something that I don't know. I'm always a student, so I'm willing to learn. But for the most part, I want to address this issue of what you can expect to make. All right. So now, what happens after that 3-month mark? What about once we get to about 5 months, 6 months? What are you going to be making at that point? Okay. Now, this is where it can kind of get a little dicey, because at the 6-month mark, some people have probably had 2 jobs by now. They get started and they probably ran into a situation where they didn't like the trainer, or, the company just didn't deliver, or it was just a nightmare. So they decided, when I'm going to jump ship, I'm going to go into something else. And it's very common within that first 6 months for this to happen. So with that being said, some companies will pick you up a little higher than what you started off with. You may have gotten hired at, 32 cents, even though that's what we were getting paid like 6-7 years ago. People still get paid that, but let's just say 40 cents, right? You start off at 40. You came out a lot higher than what people would normally get. I know for a fact people still report at CR England they can get 32 cents per mile, which is really cheap and crazy. But let's just say we're gonna stick with 40 cents per mile. Like let's just say most companies have realized that this is not gonna work. Paying people pennies. So let's make it a standard of 40 cents just for conversational purposes. Okay, it really doesn't matter. But I'm gonna get into that. But 40 cents. All right. So boom. Let's just say you start off at 40. You may get a company that say, hey, we're gonna give you 60 if you come with us. Or you may get a company that say, we're going to give you 75 cents per mile if you come with us, right? So, just to make this simple for numbers' sake, within your first 6 months, you can probably be making your first consistent $1,400 to $1,500 per week. Now, I say that because typically, you still don't have enough experience to get paid really good money. Or you may not have other skills to add to the table, like, something like intermodal or maybe even flatbed. All right. Typically, these industries require skills in order for you to get into them. And it could be a pay boost. All right. So since so many people that start off within their first 6 months is very limited, I'm going to keep it at a solid $1,400 to $1,500 max. Those are the numbers that I see all the time. Guys, I talk to so many people, over the years, and this is really high for guys who's been in the business for about 6 months. I'm talking $1,500. That's like very common for people to max out at. Okay. Now let's fast forward. You're at your 2-year mark. What are you worth at 2 years of having a clean CDL? Doing dry van. You may have a tanker endorsement or a hazmat endorsement. What should you expect to make at that point? Okay. This is the point where I would say, if you're not making at least $1,800 per week, $2,000 per week, then there's something that you might not know. Okay. So a lot of guys will stick with a certain company, and that causes them to, gain a lot of driving experience, and obviously it helps you to keep a good record with the company. However, at 2 years, it's very competitive. Okay. That's the point when all the insurance companies will open up to you and they'll be willing to take a risk. At 1 year, they'll call you a risk. But at 2 years, okay, this guy's good. And typically, you can get on a lot of owner operators insurance at that point at 2 years. Some companies will allow you at 1 year. They'll make an exception. But what you don't know is internally they're going to be charging that owner operator some extra money because you don't have enough experience. So at the 2-year mark, you can shop around with a lot of different people. A lot of doors can open up for you. Sometimes guys could be making $2,500 a week at the 2-year mark, which is very, very high. But I would say at least $1,800 per week is what you're worth. I'm not saying that's what you're going to be getting, but I'm saying that's what you're worth at least, at the 2-year mark. All right. Now, how, let's say you're not making that. Let's say you're making, you're that $1,600 guy and you're hearing this conversation. Let's just say at 2 years, you're at $1,400 and you're hearing this conversation. You're like, what? $1,800? That's unheard of. I don't know where this guy's getting his information from. Okay. Let me give you my story. When I was with Snyder and I was doing, OTR, or let's just say regional, because I was still, OTR, but I wasn't going into all states. I was just going in my Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and that was pretty much it. Okay. There was no way for me to make no more than about $1,200 a week. 13 on a extremely lucky week, right? So what I decided to do was switch my account after speaking with some guys in intermodal. Now these guys were making $1,800 to $2,200 a week, and I'm like, how is that even possible? You're running less miles, for one. You're not working as hard, for two. So how does that make any sense? Well, intermodal was a different beast. Those accounts were paying more, right? So the typical intermodal guy at 2 years, $2,000 a week is very, very common for him. And I have all my old Snyder information buried within my email. So if you want me to somehow verify what I'm saying to you, I'm pretty sure I can dig up some information on that. Just a little social proof for guys who may think that I'm all cap. But no, you can talk to anybody at Snyder and you can ask them about these accounts. If you don't trust my information, just go to one of these Snyder intermodal guys, ask them how long they've been working there, and ask them, is it common for people to be making up to about $2,000 per week? And you may be very, very happy you took my advice and did that. So if you're that guy and you're just not making the money that you want to at your 2-year mark, you can start looking into stuff like intermodal, or maybe you can start looking into working for owner operators, or maybe if you're not scared to relocate, you can go into different things like, the oil field, and just start looking around. Use websites like Indeed, and start talking to guys and telling them, hey, I want to make more money. This is what I make. And when I say start talking to guys, I'm not talking about people that's hauling the same thing you are. When you go to those truck stops, stop people that's hauling something that you're not hauling and ask them, how much do you make? How can I get into this industry? What do I got to do? And that's how I've always been blessed with my information. All right, guys, so you're going to have to work with me for the remainder of this video. I am in Miami Beach right now, vacationing with my family, but the grind continues. I have to finish this video, and hopefully my sound is still good because it's super windy and I don't have all of my equipment. Now, once you get over your 2-year mark, guys, and you're getting into your 3 to 4-year mark, you at that point have no excuse, right? You have to know your value in this industry, because it's been people running, 10 years and they still are complaining, saying that they're not making the type of money that they desire to make. Now, what type of things do you need to be considering when, you want to make more money? Number one, you want to pay attention to all the jobs that's on the market, okay? You can name your price once you get to your 3 to 4-year mark. At that point, people should definitely respect you, because you've proven that you're a safe driver, and you've also proven that you're worth anybody's company. So this is when you doing your market research truly matters. And I know that's not a big thing in inside the trucking industry, because knowledge is not really something that is esteemed too high, but it's very important for you to look into the different factors that help you make more money out here. Now let me tell you this story. A buddy of mine had a trucking business, right? Running the same thing I was, oversized, heavy haul, locally. And his engine blew, right? So he flew to South Dakota, took a job in the frac and sand industry, making like, I think, 30% of gross, and I believe his checks were anywhere from about 2,500 to maybe 28. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to double check that information so I don't just bring you guys any old news. Okay, I want to make sure that everything I'm saying is super accurate, but just off of memory, his checks were at least $2,500 per week, right? And give me a second because my background is pretty loud, but I thought that was pretty smart because he left Atlanta, and most people are not going to do that. You know, your engine blows, you're probably going to run into a situation where you want to go lease a truck, or, you know, people don't really realize that, guys. It's a lot of information out here, and it's all about who you know. Sometimes, you know, that's going to determine where you get your information from, and other times what happens is that, you know, you can go on Indeed, or, you know, you can do things like put up ads, right? Like, just, you know, go on Facebook and ask people like, hey, I'm looking for a job, this is what I want to make, this is how much experience I have, and see who responds, right? So Facebook is a great place. I don't like hanging out there, but it's a great place to network. I've had some really good information given to me off of Facebook, so I'm not gonna knock it. You know, you guys can go there and check out that information. Man, I got some in my eye. But that's what it is, guys, and I want you to understand that, you know, not everybody wants you to do well out here. That's another thing. A lot of people want you to go through the struggle, and I forget the term that they call it, but, you know, you got to pay your dues out here and stuff like that. And I didn't want to take that route. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I didn't want to take that route. For me, it was more important to be a family man. I don't know why I'm tripping over my words, but it was more important for me to be a family man and a husband and have a balanced situation than, you know, make good money and miss out on everything. And it's your choice, because some people feel like, you know, that's what it takes, that's what they got to do, they have no choice. But I'm telling you guys, it's just the information. I promise you, it's just a lack of information, and you have a whole surplus of common knowledge that is just boosted. Like, when people know nothing about the trucking industry, the first thing they're gonna say is, I'm going into dry van, or I'm going into reefer. Okay, reefer, in my opinion, is the most riskiest thing that you can do, because if you don't have the right box, and let's just say you take a load and your temperature is not holding, if you don't find a manufacturer, you know, or a shop that can repair that thing before that load goes bad, then ooh, that's a big claim on your insurance. And if you're running for somebody, that's a big claim on their insurance, and there goes your whole business out the door, or your lease situation, or your driving situation. Because if you're just a driver and that happens to you, you're gonna get fired, right? So you're not safe with reefer at all, because at the end of the day, it's just a risky industry, y'all. So I really want you guys to know, man, it's all about your homework that you're doing. Don't get lazy on yourself. Don't sit around waiting for things to fall into your lap. I'm telling you, man, you got to keep grinding. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be so real with you on this video right now. I put my truck down, right? It's parked right in front of my house, and I'm like, you know what? I want to grow my brokerage, but I can't do it from the driver's seat, because I'm in this truck so many days a week. I'm trying to balance my business, and it's just difficult to do that. So I decided to park the truck and just take a chill job. That way I can still have some revenue coming in. Obviously I need it, and me and my family needs it, right? And I'm not just gonna sit and do nothing while I'm waiting for the brokerage to take off. So I took a pretty chill trucking job, right? These guys are paying me, like, I think I'm at $31.60, and you know, I get paid time and a half overtime, so we're talking what, 40 something dollars, you know. So I have the potential of making probably up to about $2,000 a week if I really wanted to put in the work. But my checks are sitting more so around the $1,300 mark, and I know that's not a whole lot of money, but just slow down. I'm getting off sometimes at 12 o'clock in the day, 1 o'clock in the day, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I'm going home with a ton of time on my hands. Forgive me, my background is kind of loud. It's a lot going on the beach right now, guys. But I'm going home super early in the day, guys, and I'm making what some guys are doing OTR. Now, like I said, I have the potential to make up to $100,000 a year if I wanted to, but I do not put in the amount of hours because I feel like I have to have a balanced situation right now. Just enough money to come in to keep us afloat, but I'm not trying to get rich off of this situation. You know, some people may say like, oh man, that sounds crazy. You need to be out there making as much money as you can. But making money without no purpose or no investment, guys, it doesn't make any sense at all, because you don't know you don't have any goals, you don't have any structure, and sometimes you're overshooting your mark, right? Sometimes you could be over there working like a slave and still have nothing to show for it. So at some point you got to choose what's more important to you. And I understand that with business, sometimes you got to fall back in order to go forward. Sometimes you got to take a little bit off your plate. That may means getting rid of that car note. That may means leaving that living situation and finding something that is working, or taking a roommate, or go back to your mom or dad's house, or uncle, auntie, sister, brother. Sometimes you got to do that type of stuff. But in my particular framework, I just decided to take a chill job, get off super early, use that to pay the bills, and wait till my brokerage takes off. That is my strategy. I do have some things lined up on the table that I could push right now. And the crazy part about this is, even where, I'm gonna save that for next time, because I was really about to drop something super serious that could jeopardize my situation right now. But I'll save that one. Just know this, right? If you know where the freight is, you can move that freight. And I get it, trucking is a lifestyle, guys. This lifestyle chose me. But once you figure out what's more suitable for you inside this industry, follow it. I feel like I'm more effective being a broker, and I'm more helpful to others by having freight, because me running, I've been doing this going on 3 years with my own authority, and I've noticed that I can't run more than one load at a time, or I got to get a whole bunch of owner operators on my authority, and I just don't have the patience for that anymore. I feel like I'd rather give loads out to people who have their own authority than put them on my own, because I wasn't looking to build a trucking business up to about 300 trucks, 100 trucks, or even 10 trucks, right? That was never my goal inside of this business, is to come in and own a fleet. And I know that might be everybody's goal, but sometimes, you have to realize you can make the same amount of money doing other things in this industry if you're just paying attention. And one of those ways are being a broker. Some people do it as dispatchers. We've heard crazy numbers. I'm definitely skeptical about the dispatching thing though, because I realize, what goes into that. But to be honest with you, if you just do like a simple survey of what brokers are doing in this industry, yes, they make a ton, and we're like on the outside of information when it comes into what's going on between these shippers and these brokers. So I have a ton of reasons why I decided that I need to get into this area. But the main reason is, I know so many people who come to me for help, and the number one thing they want to know is, hey man, do you have any freight? And I'm tired of saying no. I feel like I can just help way more guys, be fair, and just kind of change things around just based on who I am, me being, a passionate person. And as you can, hear it in my voice right now, I've always been like that. I've always been a passionate individual. I've always, looked out for the next man and different things like that. Those who know me personally already know that is how I am, and I'm not changing, guys. So me going into this brokerage now is the next big thing. But what about you, right? What about you that's out there? You don't care about going into a brokerage. That's not your cup of tea. You're not interested in going through all the headaches and different things like that. And you just want to make way more money. You might be a driver. You may be thinking of becoming an owner operator or leasing. What about you, right? Let me tell you the best strategy, okay? And this is a real gem right here. So if you're on my channel, just know you're getting some real good information. I have a buddy that bought a truck, and I'm talking about, this is probably 2 months now since he's owned his truck. I'm talking about going from working for a company, never owning a truck before in his life, right? He DM'd me and he was like, hey man, I want to find a truck. I want to make more money. I'm tired of my current situation. I'm leasing and it's eating me up. I gave him my personal advice, right? This guy went and bought like a truck for about $40K, he might have put down. I'm gonna ask him how much he put down. I'm gonna come back and do another video. But he went out there, guys, and in his second week, he brought home $5,000. If you don't believe me, I'll get this guy on my podcast and I'll let you question him yourself. I promise you that this information is not just being pulled out of the sky, okay? Because I don't even have enough eyeballs on me to be throwing out information, and there's no course, there's no, catch to it. I'm just literally giving you information that is happening real time that you can use. Now, where exactly did he do this at? He did it at Landstar, okay? He went in, he decided that he's going to pretty much figure things out, and he really did. He went inside Landstar, and his second check was around $5,000, and I'm not gonna say around, it was 5K. He said he took 5K home because I asked him, I said, man, listen, did you gross 5K or did you gross, how did, when you say 5K, like, what do you mean? And he grossed, like, I think, maybe like 8,000 or something like that, and he took home 5 after all the fees. And I never thought Landstar was a great place for people to go. I've never encouraged people to go there. I don't do anything with Landstar. I don't own any trucks over there. I have absolutely no ties. I just knew that people were paying Landstar a ton of money to use their system. But right now, guys, with the industry being the way it is, going to somewhere like Landstar becomes your only option, because there's not a lot of ways you can go about this industry right now and say you're walking away with 5K, okay? And let me be clear when I say that, okay? To make 5K right now, it's a rough time. It's hard to say, well, I'm gonna do 5K every single week, right? You may hit it one week and be down the next, but to go somewhere where, you're getting steady freight, you can really do something with that. So I don't know if 5,000 a week is money to a lot of you guys, but as an owner operator myself running local, 5K a week was all I needed to get myself to a high ground. I'm telling you, if I'm doing 5K a week, dude, I'm super happy. Typically for me, I was more so doing like 4,800, a week, maybe 45, 4,000, 38, just depends on how the week go. But if you're consistently doing $5,000 a week, there's absolutely nothing you can complain about, unless you're just tied up in a whole bunch of financial situations, child support, $1,500 car note, $1,500 truck note, maybe a $1,800 mortgage, and a ton of money spent on food, right? Because you're not just going to be able to eat up 5K a week if you're just sitting in one situation and not doing too much. So yes, guys, you can make money inside of this industry, and that is one of the ways that I wanted to share with you. And I hope my background is not too loud, guys. It's windy. There's absolutely nothing I can do. Like, I'm in the middle of the beach right now, and I'm trying to chase the sun. The sun is going down because I really want you guys to get this information, and I don't want to wait for a perfect situation. I know a lot of times everything's got to be right. You want the best setting, and the lights got to be right, your microphone, guys. But to be honest with you, just to be real, it's never going to be a perfect situation, right? And I don't make these videos for everybody. I make these videos for the person that's looking for just a tidbit of information that's going to make the world of difference. So if you're seeing this and if you're getting it, don't let the bad audio cause you to skip, because that's not how life works. Sometimes things come around in a package where the package is wrinkled, the box is crushed, but what's inside is still gold, right? So you want to keep that mindset, and that is what you got to use to sort of navigate this industry, man. You can't always look at the outside of what's going on. You got to get that inside information, and that's what I want to do for you guys, is bring you a whole bunch of inside information. So if you want to get out there, if you want to buy a truck, I'm not going to deter you from doing it. I'm not going to tell you, oh man, don't buy a truck, it's a bad time. When guys usually say that, to be honest with you, they never have a good time to tell you when to come into the business. It's not like they're going to say, oh, wait till next year, it's going to get better. Wait 5 years, it's going to get better. Nobody knows when it's going to get better. And 5 years ago, right, like way in the past, people still told you not to buy trucks. People still told you not to hop out there. So you don't want to leave it to what people are telling you. You want to leave it to the facts, right? And the facts is that you just got to make sure you manage your bills. You got to be a good steward. You got to balance. You can't be like, when you got a trucking business, man, let me tell you something. You cannot be out there blowing your money, okay? If you want to blow your money, stick to being a company driver, because there's no way you're going to buy a truck, go through breakdowns, and, you know, go through all kind of adversities and still survive. It's just not going to work. It's just too stressful. There's too many factors to consider, like, you know, going out there, getting hit by the DOT, getting shut down, getting fined, accidents, right? There's too many factors, guys. So, you know, if you don't have money to survive all of that, then you're playing with this industry, and this industry is not to be played with. Like, a lot of people don't get it, man. They treat this trucking industry like it's Uber. It's not Uber, guys. It's not Uber. There's a ton of factors that you want to keep in mind, and you want to be careful. Like, you really want to be careful. So you got to live way below your means inside of this industry, man. Like, if I'm making $5,000 every single week, I'm putting myself on a shoestring budget, right? I'm working 5 months, and if I can go 5 months with no breakdowns, you know, no unforeseen circumstances, and I got all those checks in my account, yes, I'm doing good. And there's a lot of people out there who do way better than that. Like, this is like really small tidbits of information, guys, but I just want to get on this video real quick and address that little problem of, you know, you being worried about, are you gonna make money, you know, is this a bad time? That's my take on it. I wasn't doing this video scripted. I didn't have anything planned. I didn't have any notes, so I might have forgotten a few things, or I might have said things that I didn't plan on saying. And maybe when I go back and watch this video, I'm gonna say, oh man, I should have did it differently. I should have said that, or I shouldn't have said that, or, you know, I need to fact check this. But guys, I promise you, I'm speaking from the heart right now, because I know how it feels to be in your position. And technically, we're all in the same position, right? We're just dealing with different circumstances, but we're all, if you're in the trucking industry, we're technically all in the same boat. Some people just make a whole lot more. Some people have more problems or less problems, but we're all in the industry, so we get hit with whatever, okay? But guys, make sure that you comment down below if there's anything you want to challenge. I invite you to do that, because I like having these conversations. If there's anything that you're interested in knowing, like who's your friend at Landstar, I don't have any problem, guys. I have a private community. If you want to join, that's where I have, you know, a lot of people who want to learn. They're there. I'm not trying to sell you on that idea. You don't have to join. I'm just mentioning it because, you know, people ask me all the time, hey, can you help me? Hey, can you help me? Okay, create a private community. Created a private community. It's $10. If you want to join, join. If you don't want to join, find you somebody who you can trust, somebody who can take you by the hand and lead you and give you great information and guidance and connect you to a network of people. And that is what I do for $10. So if that's too much, or if that's not something you want to waste or whatever, I'm not even going to challenge you on it. I don't want to spend too much time trying to sell that or put that out there. I'm really focused on other things right now, and the community is just there for people who need it, okay? Another thing, I'm getting ready to drop our app. That is a trucking calculator slash networking tool slash business management tool slash, you know, everything in one tool. I'm gonna have that link down below, guys, so make sure you click these links. Make sure you check it out. Even if you're just putting your eyeballs on it, it may be something that you see that catches your attention, and you'll be glad you did. But with that being said, guys, let me get back to my family. I'm about to go check on these kids. I don't even know where they're at. But yeah, make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.